Greetings, everyone. Well, last time we started talking about some of the many video games I played while I was cut off from the internet. Last time we talked about Fallout 3 and Killzone 2. Fallout 3 being an excellent post-apocalyptic RPG, Killzone 2 being a kick-ass first-person sci-fi shooter. Today, we're going to talk about the other two PS2 games I played. What are they? Well, you'll find out today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alrighty, so next up, these are both games that were sent to me by viewers, actually. And I've been meaning to play them for ages. I just didn't get around to it until now. So first up, normally I don't like to play sequels before I play the first one, but in this case I made an exception. What the heck? I figured, well, I've got the second one, why don't I just play it? And then if I like it, I'll go back and play the first one. I am, of course, talking about Army of Two, the 40th Day. Now, I remember hearing about the original Army of Two when it came out, and a lot of my friends seemed to like it, and I just never got around to checking it out. So it isn't until now that I finally got to experience the world of Army of Two. And it's been a couple months since I played it, so I've already forgotten the names of the main characters. Oh well. Anyway, what we have here basically is a couple of guys who are sort of guns for hire, and they work for this sort of organization, I gather. I don't know. They didn't really go much into their origins or backgrounds because I guess they sort of assume you've played the first one. Yeah, so this one takes place in China, I believe. Yeah, Shanghai. And there's basically this big disaster that wipes out a good chunk of the city, and you got to find out what's going on. But the thing I really enjoyed about it was, I mean, first off, graphically, it's a beautiful game. I mean, the environments are just full of detail and such. And I noticed a bit of a contrast between the big sprawling RPG games I was playing and these ones. And, you know, Killzone being another one, is I find that the smaller scale games tend to have better graphics than the bigger scale games. I guess really just being a matter of scale. When you're doing something on the scale of Fallout 3, you can't have as much in terms of, you know, lush, detailed environments and whatnot. You got to cut some corners just to you know, to have it all fit within, you know, certain memory restrictions and things like that. I find the bigger the game environments, the less detailed the graphics tend to be. That said, the graphics in Fallout 3 are pretty amazingly detailed. But you go from that immediately to Army of Two, and you can definitely see a difference in graphical quality there. I've noticed the same thing with other games of that type. You know, I mean, Killzone was similarly, you know, just very beautiful to look at, a lot of eye candy. This is actually from Electronic Arts, and they often have fantastic graphics in their games as well. I'm not sure if there was like a sub-team that did it. It doesn't look like it was Visceral or anything like that. I know there was a couple of other teams involved in the making of this one. I just don't recall them off the top of my head. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed Army of Two, the 40th Day a lot. One of the things I found interesting about it is it has a morals system where you get to certain story points and you have an option of doing sort of a good choice or an evil choice. And that can sort of affect the outcome. And when you get to the end of the game, without giving anything away, you actually have three choices to make. That each one will give you a very different ending. So needless to say, I had a few saved games that I kept in rotation so that I could experience all the different permutations of the game. I actually ended up playing through it about 3 times just to get all the different, you know, the different choices and whatnot. Gameplay-wise, I mean, controls are very slick, very intuitive. It's really easy to get the hang of. You can play 2-player co-op throughout the entire thing if you want, which is great. Otherwise, you're basically playing with a bot. And the thing that impressed me about it is it's actually a very smart bot. Like, it was an effective teammate, even just the AI character, you know. But you always have the two characters. There's always the two guys there. They're a team, regardless of whether you're playing single player campaign or online co-op. So yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, I went through and I made all the different moral choices to see all the different things. It's cool because you'll make a moral decision, then it'll give you almost like a comic book style thing that'll sort of show, like, okay, you know, you saved this person. This is how their life turned out after this event. You know, this life-changing event that you were a part of. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. So it's interesting to see. It kind of reminded me actually of Run Lola Run. How in Run Lola Run, every time she bumped into somebody or encountered somebody or affected them in some way, you get those quick sort of Polaroid snaps of their life and how it turned out after that brief encounter, basically showing, you know, that even people whose lives we touch only briefly, we can actually have an effect. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, you know. I mean, everything is connected. Everything matters. So Army of Two kind of plays with that a little bit, and depending on what you do and the choices you make, you get to see the different, you know, secondary characters' lives take very different turns, or sometimes die, you know, based on your actions and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I like that. The only complaint I had about it, I mean, I really enjoyed it a lot. And I was having a great time. I really like the main characters and the actors playing them. You know, they did a great job of the voice acting and everything. It's a lot of fun. It's very good looking, great controls, great gameplay, great everything. But it's so freaking short. Like, it's really short. I played this not even obsessively for like 2 days, and I finished it. You know, I wasn't even playing that hard, and I finished it in 2 days, and I was like, "What? That's it? It's over?" And it really left me wanting more. I kind of felt like it was just kind of rushed together as far as, you know, giving you stuff to do and expanding the story. It just felt like it was kind of put together very quickly. I mean, it looks great. It's very solid, what's there, but it's very short. I mean, you will finish it very quickly. I mean, it's not, you won't even get a week's worth of gameplay out of it, honestly. And that's, unfortunately, I gotta say, is a big negative. And I don't know if they just favored multiplayer, like some kind of online multiplayer, or what, because I know... Oh yeah, you can have 2 players, or you can have up to 10 online. So obviously there's, yeah. See, I don't play online that much. So for me, it's all about the single player campaign. It's like I want a nice meaty single player campaign, and I find that a lot of games now are favoring the multiplayer stuff. It's like, come on, guys, like how many death matches can you play before you realize it's just the same shit all the time? Really. You know, there's not that big a difference between all these online gaming experiences. You know, I really don't see the appeal. I mean, maybe you might say, well, the social aspect of it. It's like, well, you know, for me, when I play online games, it's with people I'm actually friends with outside of gaming, and you know, we just do it for fun. But I find whenever I play online games, I always get stuck with a bunch of hardcore gamers who just live online playing games all the time, and it's their whole life, and they take it way too seriously. And yeah, I think it's actually kind of sad that the single player experience has taken a back seat to that in a lot of cases. Because I enjoy this type of game very much. Oh, by the way, it's a third-person actioner, but there are first-person aspects to it, you know, first-person aiming and stuff like that. But I think that's unfortunate. So, second, well, I guess last for the PS3 games for now, but most definitely not least, I had to save this one till last because it's just so awesome. So anyway, Army of Two 40th Day, lots of fun, but it's really short. Maybe the online experience makes up for it for some of you, I don't know. But for me, being a single-player guy, I was disappointed by the lack of length, and that's been a common complaint with me with a lot of games lately. So yeah, so last but certainly not least, you know I'm a huge Transformers fan, and a lot of you have been saying you've got to play this game. What are you waiting for? This is the game Transformers fans have been waiting for. Just had a sequel come out, but this is not the sequel. This is the first one in the series. Transformers War for Cybertron. Yes, finally I got off my ass and played it. And I just played the shit out of that for like a good week and a half, I'd say. Maybe 2 weeks, actually. Because I played through there's a series of Autobot campaigns and there's a series of Decepticon campaigns. I actually played the Autobot campaign first, even though they kind of try to force you to play the Decepticon campaign first. In terms of story order, it's actually better if you play the Decepticon campaign first. But holy Moses, I can definitely see why Transformers fans the world over have been going gaga over this game. It is just fantastic. Graphically, the whole thing I was thinking while I was, seeing all these classic characters, updated, modernized, and given more detail and whatnot, the way they were done and redesigned in this, I kept thinking, why didn't they do that in the movies? The live-action movies. Why did they go for this over-designed stuff that's so ridiculously complicated you can't even tell what you're looking at half the time? The designs in this are great. I mean, they still evoke the same kind of look and feel as the classic characters, but of course these are their Cybertronian versions. So, Prime turns into a big truck-like vehicle, but is not a semi-truck, obviously, because they haven't gone to Earth yet. This takes place prior to the events of G1. But their robot forms and whatnot were terrific and very much in tune with the classic designs, but punched up more, given more detail and more texture and, stuff like that. But they still had that classic look to them at the same time. It was very clear to me right from the moment go that this game was designed by people who were fans. This was a game made by fans for fans. All the trophies or achievements, if you're playing on Xbox, are named after episodes, like G1 episodes and stuff like that. Like, they all have recognizable names, and some of them are just the exact titles of episodes and stuff like that. And there's a lot of little references in the games to G1 and to the animated movies. For example, like, Rumble says, first we crack the nuts, then we crack the shell, then we crack the nuts inside, which is a line from the movie. Prime says, one shall stand, one shall fall, which is a line from the movie. That made it into the Michael Bay movie as well. It's a very famous line. And it's great. And you have Peter Cullen again as the voice of Optimus Prime. I mean, how cool is that? And apparently the new one, The Fall of Cybertron, has Peter Cullen back as Prime and Frank Welker back as Megatron. So you actually have the original Prime, the original Megatron, which is great. The other thing was Bumblebee talks in this, like he does in all the Transformers stuff except for Transformers Prime and the Michael Bay movies. Yeah, so it's actually good old Bumblebee that we remember. And Soundwave has his voice properly vocoded, just like in the old show, and sounds great. And it's great. When I played as the Decepticons, I actually played as Soundwave quite a bit, just so I could hear him talk more. Just always loved Soundwave's voice. So if you're a Transformers fan, definitely pick up War for Cybertron. Definitely. I will absolutely be getting the second one. Just going to wait for it to drop in price a bit. Because I'm poor. Well, I'm not like dirt poor like I was a few months ago, but poor enough that I still try to save money on stuff that I want for the collection. So, yeah, definitely got my eye on the sequel. Absolutely loved this one. So very big thanks to the viewers who sent me these. Fantastic stuff. A lot of fun. So definitely kept me from being bored during my time off the internet, that's for sure. I cannot possibly say enough good things about this Transformers game. I mean, it really is a game for fans like me, lifelong fans of the franchise, and especially of Generation 1, There's just so many treats in there. You know, as the Decepticons, you get to fight Omega Supreme, and a lot of other guys. You actually get to see how Megatron and Starscream first met. And yeah, you get a lot of like backstory and origin stuff that ties in very nicely to the old cartoon and the old lore, basically. Yeah, and then as the Autobots, you actually get to fight Trypticon. That's like the big villain at the end there, which is pretty cool. So I was kind of expecting to see like an Optimus Prime versus Megatron battle at some point, but no, that didn't happen. You get to see actually how Optimus Prime became leader of the Autobots as well, which plays out quite a bit differently than it did in the original animated series. You guys may remember an episode called War Dawn from the G1 series that actually told the origins of Optimus Prime. Plays out differently from that, but yeah, I suppose with a little bit of fan creativity, maybe a little bit of retconning, you could make the two coexist quite comfortably. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I cannot possibly say enough good things about it. Terrific graphics. I mean, it all takes place on Cybertron, and Cybertron looks fantastic. Really, really good. Really, very lush, detailed environments. It is a tad on the linear side. In fact, it's very linear. Same thing with Army of Two. Both very linear games, but I mean, no more than the average game nowadays. The main thing is just to kind of push through the story and battle your way along. Be wary of ammo. I had a tendency to run out of ammo a lot. Ammo is annoyingly scarce throughout. Yeah, didn't really have that problem in Army of Two, but in Transformers there are parts where ammo gets a little scarce and you're fighting off waves and waves and waves of enemies. So make sure you're using your ammo wisely. I also like the fact that when you're in vehicle mode and robot mode, you get access to different weapons. So your vehicles have different weapons than your robot modes. Transformation was super easy. Basically, just click of a button and you transform one way or the other. Controls, super easy. Really easy to get the hang of. And yeah, just an absolute blast. Loved it. Loved it. I will be going back and playing that again and again whenever I'm in a Transformers mood. It really felt like I was, in that world as those characters, and it was just great fun. Alrighty, well, that is it for the PS3 games that I played during my downtime. That was quite a bit of stuff. I mean, all of these took up, between all of them, we're probably talking about 2 months worth of gaming right there. Easy. Well, I mean, Fallout 3 alone was probably I think I played for about 5 or 6 weeks total. Killzone 2 was a couple of weeks. Army of 2 was about a week. Transformers was a couple of weeks. So, yeah, had a lot of fun. A lot of good games. And that's not all I played, because I also played quite a few PS2 games, because as you may know, I've got quite a sizable collection of PS2 games, a lot of which I picked up in bargain bins a couple years ago when a lot of the game shops were clearing them out. And there's been a bunch that have been just sort of sitting on the shelf for a while, so I thought it was high time I dusted them off and actually played some of them. So I did. Now, some of them I'm still in the middle of playing, others I actually did play all the way through. But we'll talk about some of those another time. Maybe not next time, but in a, reasonably forthcoming video. It won't keep you waiting too long. But yeah, so that's it for the PS3 games. So next time we talk about games, it'll be the PS2 games. Well, some of them anyway, because I played quite a few. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. So it wasn't until now that I've had some experience.